Welcome to another episode of the Expert Digital AI podcast, where we deep dive into articles, books, and blog posts by Rick Spare.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're doing a deep dive today on smart cities, and I have to say, that blog post you shared, the one by Rick Spare, it really got my wheels turning. I mean, the guy's been a big name in tech forever, so when he talks about the future of our cities, I listen. So are we talking like flying cars and robot butlers here, or what? What's the reality when it comes to all this smart technology?
Well, I don't know about robot butlers just yet, but it's definitely an interesting time to be talking about this stuff. I think that blog post does a really good job of breaking down how the Internet of Things, IoT, is changing how cities work, and probably will even more in the future.
Yeah, totally. I'm all about real world examples. So what's something concrete that's happening right now with this whole smart city thing?
Okay, so imagine this. You're walking down the street and you realize, hey, the trash cans aren't overflowing for once. And that's because these aren't your grandma's trash cans anymore. They've got sensors in them now that tell the sanitation crews when they're full.
Whoa, seriously, I never would have thought of that. Even trash cans are getting a tech upgrade these days. That's pretty wild.
It really is. And when you think about it, it's such a simple idea, but the impact is huge. Fewer garbage trucks on the road means less traffic, less fuel being used, and you know what that means, less pollution. And this is just one tiny example of how IoT is making cities more efficient.
Okay, yeah, that is actually pretty slick. So if something as simple as trash cans can have that kind of impact, I can only imagine what else is possible when you scale this up. This is just scratching the surface with IoT, right?
Oh, absolutely. That blog post gets into how transportation is being transformed by all this. We're talking self-driving cars that can actually talk to traffic signals in each other. The idea is to optimize routes, cut down on all that rush hour craziness, maybe even give you a few extra minutes to listen to your favorite podcast.
All right, now that's a future I can get behind. Less time stuck in traffic. Sign me up. But there's always a but, isn't there? The blog post mentioned some potential downsides too, didn't it? I mean, data privacy immediately comes to mind. If we're talking about cities collecting data on how we move around, how can we be sure it's not going to end up in the wrong hands?
That's the million-dollar question. The blog post does make a good point, though. It's not just about gathering data, but how we manage it and keep it secure. Rick Spare, the author, uses this phrase, ethical data governance frameworks, basically, rules for how cities should be handling our information.
So like digital guardrails to make sure this tech is used for the right reasons?
Exactly. It boils down to transparency. We need to know what data is being collected and why. And of course, security, making sure it doesn't get hacked or misused. And maybe most importantly, control. We should have a say in how our data is used, right? It's like we have laws in the real world. We need similar rules for the digital world, too.
Makes sense. Shiny new tech is cool and all, but not if it comes at the expense of our privacy. Speaking of which, this reminds me of something else from the blog post, something about a digital divide. What does that mean in the context of smart cities?
Yeah, that's a really important point, and it kind of highlights the potential downside of all this progress. See, not everyone has the same access to technology or even the skills to navigate the digital world, right? So there's a real danger that as our cities get smarter, some people might get left behind. Imagine if you couldn't even access basic city services without a smartphone app. Now imagine you can't afford internet, let alone the latest phone. That's a problem.
Oh, wow, you're right. I hadn't even thought about that. We're so busy thinking about the cool stuff that we forget not everyone benefits equally from it. So how do we prevent that from happening?
It starts by remembering that technology is just a tool. And like any tool, it can be used to bring people together or to create even bigger divides between them. We have to be deliberate about using it to bridge that digital divide, not make it worse.
It's not enough to just be smart, then. Our cities also need to be equitable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everyone deserves to benefit from these advancements, no matter their income, education level, or tech skills.
That's a great point. So how do we actually go about making these smart cities more inclusive? Are we talking about like free Wi-Fi everywhere you go, or is it more complicated than that?
It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all solution. Affordable internet access is crucial, for sure. But it's bigger than just infrastructure. We need to think about digital literacy programs, making sure city services can still be accessed offline, and honestly, just designing these technologies with inclusivity in mind from the beginning.
So it's almost like we need a whole new approach to urban planning, right? It's not just about physical things like roads and buildings anymore, but also data and algorithms and how those things impact people's daily lives.
You got it. That's where I think the conversation often goes off track. We get so caught up the smart part, the sensors and the data crunching, that we forget about the city part. We have to ask ourselves, what kind of cities are we actually trying to create here? What values are we putting first?
Right, right. It can't just be about being smart for the sake of it. It has to be about using technology to actually make people's lives better in a meaningful way.
Exactly. We need to shift from just thinking about the technology itself to a more well-rounded view that considers like the social, economic, and environmental impact of all this.
Okay, yeah. You've mentioned some of the potential downsides, but let's flip the script for a sec. What are some of the most exciting things happening in the smart city world right now? What's got you pumped?
For me, sustainability is where I see massive potential. Imagine a city where sensors are constantly monitoring air quality, traffic flow, how much energy is being used, all in real time. Then all that data gets used to make things more efficient and reduce our impact on the environment.
Wow, so instead of just reacting to problems after they happen, we could actually get ahead of them?
That's the idea. Think about smarter energy grids that balance supply and demand, so we're not so reliant on fossil fuels. Or buildings that adjust their temperature and lighting automatically based on who's there, so we're not wasting energy.
That's pretty amazing when you think about it. We could be creating cities that are not only more efficient, but healthier and better for the planet. This might sound like a weird jump, but what about the human factor in all of this? We've talked about data privacy, the digital divide, but how do we design smart cities that are truly people-centric, not just tech-centric?
That is the million-dollar question. It's something we have to keep asking ourselves as this technology keeps developing. One thing is making sure people actually have a voice in shaping these smart cities of the future.
So not just leaving it up to the tech companies and city planners to call all the shots.
Exactly. We need what's called participatory urban planning, where residents have a say in how this tech is used in their communities. It's about being transparent with data, making sure people can access it and understand it, not just the data scientists of the world.
That makes a lot of sense. But let's be real, not everyone's going to be at every city council meeting or reading data reports. So how do we get people engaged?
You're right. That's actually where technology itself can be really helpful. Think about online platforms where people can give feedback on smart city plans or even suggest their own ideas. What about apps that show city data in a way that's easy to understand and interesting, not just a bunch of numbers and charts?
So it's about using technology to give people more of a voice, not just to keep track of everything they do. That sits a lot better with me. It feels like finding that sweet spot between pushing the boundaries of what's possible, but also making sure no one gets left behind. That's how we build smart cities that actually work for everyone.
You said it. And it's not even just about individual technologies or projects. It's more about creating a culture where everyone works together and feels included. We have to build trust between people and their governments and help everyone feel like they have a stake in the future of their cities.
It's almost like we need a new social contract for this digital age we live in, one that acknowledges how powerful technology is, but also doesn't forget about the things that really matter: equity, sustainability, making sure everyone has a say.
And to put it better myself, we can't just be impressed by gadgets. The best smart cities will be the ones that create the most opportunities for everyone.
I think that's a great place to wrap things up for today. We've covered so much ground, from those high-tech trash cans to the whole future of how cities are planned.
It's been a great conversation, and if there's one thing I hope people take away from this, it's that we all have a role to play in this whole smart city thing. Doesn't matter if you're a tech whiz or just someone who calls a city home, your voice matters. The choices we make today about how technology fits into our cities, well, those are the choices that'll shape the world for years to come.
Couldn't agree more. So to everyone listening, we want you to really think about the kind of future you want for your city. What do you want technology to do? What kind of community are we building? Because the future isn't set in stone. It's something we create together, one smart decision at a time.